Ready to get started? Good evening, everybody. Today, regular meeting of the Board of Education. The board already met in executive session and did the salute to the flag. I'm going to read the statement of public notice right now. The regular meeting of the Board of Education of Burns Township. Notice the time and place of this meeting is provided. Copy of the resolution forwarded to the newspaper designated by the Board of Education and to the Township Clerk, and copy of the notice was posted on both Board of Education offices. Those members of the public who are unable to attend our meeting in person, a live streaming link of the meeting is posted on the district website, BOE.com. You're very much welcome input from the public. There are 2 times during regular meetings that the public is invited to speak. 1 time is early in the meeting before the board votes, when we may speak about any item that's listed on tonight's agenda. Towards the end of the meeting, there's a separate public forum to address any matter of public concern related to the schools. Over there, you'll see a little desk. That's where you can make a public comment if you so choose. When you approach the microphone, please state your name and address. Each statement made by the participant shall be limited to 3 minutes duration. No participant may speak more than once during a given public comment section. In order to run efficient meetings to allow maximum opportunity for members of the public to speak, the board reserves the right to set a different time limit for individual comments and or to set an overall time limit for the public comment portion of the agenda. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question board member individually. As a courtesy to those individuals unable to attend our meetings in person, public comment may be made remotely through Zoom. Individuals should navigate to the district webpage where there will be comments, select Board of Education, followed by public comments or reviews. Public comments may be made in person. Public comments made in person will be processed first, and comments will be assumed. No public comment will be accepted before 7 p.m. or after item 13. Of the board forum, the agenda begins. After item 13, the board voting. Please understand the public comment portions of our agenda are not structured as question and answer session, but rather they are offered an opportunity to share your thoughts with the board. Board administration will respond to public comments to the extent possible. The board response to public comments will be generally addressed during board forum or during the committee reports. However, all comments are considered and will be investigated and addressed as appropriate. Please be courteous and mindful of the rights of others in speaking. Comments may not be abusive or seen threatening or irrelevant. Please understand that students, employees have specific legal and privacy protection. The board is not permitted to respond to public comments about students and employees. Please also understand that the board will not be responsible for the content of comments made by members of the public. Members of the public are cautioned that they are speaking at their own risk, and any personally directed statements they may subject them to legal liability to the affected individual. And I will use the gavel if I have. If it is necessary for the board to go into executive session at the end of the meeting, we will provide an estimated length of time for the session, whether any action is anticipated to be taken upon returning to public session. Mr. McLaughlin, if you would roll call, please. Here.
Here.
Right.
Here.
White.
Here.
Same.
Here.
Here. Here. Side. Here. Thank you. Next item is the agenda for president comments. I only got 2 comments. I hope everybody is having a very nice summer. And then our next meeting is in August on what day? The 27th, and it will be 22nd, and it will be in this room as well. All right, Mr. Martinez, for agenda support. Sure.
So working on a mid-summer SOS Express, just to update public on some things about ongoings this summer and some progress that we're making in a variety of areas. And I wanted to share a few of those things now with the board. And as I said, I'll have this put together for this Friday's message going out. First off,
you know what? We have one item to vote on.
oh,
I'm sorry. Instead,
yep. So if you want to call.
yeah, let's do that for you guys.
Yeah,
sure. So we have one item on the superintendent reports, the HIP report. Mr. McLaughlin, motion to accept the HIP report. Ms. White and Ms. Shane. And then we can do it. Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
White.
Yes.
Yeah. 0. Thank you. Sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, so very good. Okay, go ahead.
So a couple things. First off with enrollments. Obviously, as the summer rolls along, we have families registering students for the fall. And we have to keep an eye on enrollments to see if we need to respond to any particular needs. A few things have come up. One is second grade at Mount Prospect School. We try to manage our enrollments at the elementary schools, no more than about 22 students, K-1-2, and 25 students, grades 3, 4, 5. That is a guideline established by the board. It is not a hard and fast number. However, we do our best to try to manage it if we can, and there's time in the summer to address the need. We'll make a recommendation to do so. So we are seeing two areas where this is a concern. One is in the second grade of Mount Prospect. There is a staff first on the agenda for tonight to address that. And we are watching one other grade at the corner school, and I will keep the board apprised of that situation. Also, with respect to enrollments, we have seen a significant uptick in the preschool registrations, first grade, kindergarten, and second grade for our special needs program that is traditionally housed at Mount Prospect School. We have our preschool to grade 5 CBAP program, our program for students with autism. And we have seen 17 students register for that program in preschool to second grade. That's a very significant number when we try to manage class size at around 6 students in that program. To have 17 students registered for it is going to mean we need to open up 2 classrooms to accommodate that growth. That process should allow us the necessary space to manage student enrollment going forward. But it's obviously an area that is significant. And I know that the natural question people ask is, well, how do you manage that? And what is the cost of opening up those classrooms? Well, obviously we need to find the classroom space. So we're working on that, trying to figure out what movement, if any, we need to have in order to accommodate the program in terms of where students are assigned. So we're trying to get that resolved by the end of this week. In terms of the actual staff involved, to open up 2 classrooms for CBAP students at the elementary level. We are looking at 2 teachers and probably about 6 aides. So that is a substantial investment, obviously, in personnel. When you factor in salary and health benefits, you know, you're looking at ballpark $85,000 on average for teachers, and probably in the ballpark of 55 to 60,000 per aide. Obviously, that varies substantially because we don't know what health benefit programs individuals may enroll in when they're hired. So that cost can be variable. We do manage the expenses for these high cost programs with some help from the state of New Jersey in the form of extraordinary aid. And these programs typically generate applications for extraordinary aid, which are done on an individual basis for students in district that cost the district more than $40,000 on an individual basis. So each student that costs more than $40,000 per year generates an application for extraordinary aid, and then the state funds that extraordinary aid on a variable basis that we've seen ranging anywhere from roughly 50 to 60 cents on the dollar to about 90 cents on the dollar. But the district is responsible for the first $40,000 per student. So ultimately, we won't know until all the staff are hired, the sections are formed, what the bottom line increase to the budget will be. And that'll have to be kind of compared to the extraordinary aid award that we would not see until probably August of next summer. So it is obviously a substantial cost, but students move into town, and we are happy to work to meet their needs appropriately. So we're looking at a couple general education teachers and a couple special education teachers that we had not initially anticipated as we respond to enrollment. So that's the main gist of where we are with staffing. We have some other things, obviously, that we've been working on over the summer. We've been evaluating the program for classroom management of students using the internet when they're working in the classroom at school. That's the classroom management software that we were piloting last spring. That's been looked at, and I anticipate the curriculum committee will be reporting out on that with our recommendations for the August Board of Education. That brings with it an aspect that we've been looking at for the last few years that is known as our BYOD practice, our bring your own device to school practice. And I anticipate a recommendation that students would only be allowed to use their own computers in class based on an approved list of courses at Ridge High School. We've also been posting our summer assignments for students to work on. I will repost those at the end of the week. We've been working on our website update project through several staff members and our IT team, as well as School Messenger. School Messenger is the company that hosts our school web pages. So we have gotten our templates approved, and we're waiting for the vendor to bring those pages online so that we have the chance to do some polishing up work on content. And we anticipate it'll probably be a 2-year process in getting the content where we want it. Although I anticipate a new look on all the websites for the fall, it will take time to work on the content that each of those pages is posted. School calendar and in-service days. We are planning our 4 abbreviated school days. We typically do 1 abbreviated school day each market period to give the staff a little bit of extra time for professional development. And this year we're looking to try making the very first day for students an abbreviated day, along with 3 other dates. So I'll get that out, as I mentioned, at the end of the week in the SOS Express. I'll provide the updated school calendar highlighting the dates that we will have the abbreviated days for the teacher in service. That's all.
Great, thanks. Next item is public comment on agenda items. Are there any public comments here on any of the agenda items? Okay, anybody in Zoom? Comment on agenda items. I don't see anyone this time. Okay, those public comment agenda items. The next item is approval of minutes. There's 1 item to vote on. Can I have a motion, please? Ms. Hira and Mrs. Gray. And we'll call Mr. Walker, please. Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Gosh. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Next is the Finance Committee report. There are 31 items. Can I have a motion, please? White and the same. And is there a committee report? Here. Thank you.
Committee met on Wednesday, July 20th. The first item on the agenda was the Oak Street Group project, as well as part of the school projects. Mr. Rachel was to be proceeding on the roof, and at this point, the project is well underway. The area of the corner of the cafeteria is sectioned off the construction fence for safety during the entire project. The metal decking is being installed from the auditorium area in preparation for the actual roof installation. The area above the classrooms of the building is fully prepped and we get installed shingles. Once all the underlayment is in place, the shingle installation should go very quickly. The estimated completion of the project is in August. And other projects as needed, the gyms will have their floor surfaces from polyurethane. Big and outside vendor has been contracted to facilitate some repairs on the heating system at the high school. Other repairs being addressed over the Mount Prospect School gym and stage area. This work is already done. Annual fire safety inspections begin in April, again in April after the shutdown. It is normal for these inspections to identify issues to address and vendors and market service systems to comply with inspection reports. This PIN, the electronic pass key entry system that allows staff to enter buildings through a smartphone app, is being expanded to additional doors in federal buildings. This should reduce and hopefully eliminate the likelihood that doors will be profitable when students are taking out doors. Doors at the alley behind the athletic trainer's office at Rich High School will be replaced. Some additional safety measures at Rich High School are being updated for request to meet occupation on physical therapy staff, slip resistant surfaces and painted strips for visual contrast will be added as necessary. In the football track, locker room exterior doors are on order and will be replaced. Floor tiles have been repaired. And the ceiling is being painted. Additionally, a group of parents has met with Dr. Lasvik and Mr. Byrne to discuss flooring and locker upgrades in an effort to improve the lighting in the new gym and middle gym of Rich High School. Lamps and fixtures have been replaced with LED lamps. Some fixtures are being painted with reflective paint to better reflect light downward. Similar work is occurring with the lighting in the back gym and paint. In the next item, we're doing HVAC RTU assessment. The district has hundreds of rooftop units that provide HVAC. Running the RTUs at peak capacity for the duration of COVID has taxed many to the limit. An assessment needs to be conducted on all the RTUs for long-term planning. C&M engineers will be conducting a district-wide assessment of all the RTUs at a cost of about $34,000. There was a brief discussion of business office operations. The business office team is still being rebuilt since it turned over. New staff accountants are still being onboarded. All new staff began working for the past 6 months. There's a long training for new staff accountants since they have been working prior public school audit experience. Additionally, the business office can't catch up because of the short staffing of recent months. There's been a significant increase in purchasing and brand management has become significantly more complex and time consuming with the recent major increases in federal funding through multiple brands. Business administrators are proposing hiring additional support to complete the pandemic-related grant application program, which will likely last about 2 to 3 years. Including permits reimbursement for such costs associated with staffing. And final item is the girls' varsity softball field. The district solicited bids for improvements of the girls' varsity softball field outfield area. The lowest responsible bidder was Advanced Landscaping. The committee recommends awarding the contract to Advance. The $42,900 contract covers work to remove existing grass in the outfield of softball fields. Approximately 20,000 square feet will be regraded. In addition to bringing in a topsoil blend of soil and sand for improved future drainage, the machine used to grade the soil also decompacts the clay soil on the site. This should aid in the putting of new sod that will be installed with the work area. Work is anticipated to begin in September, so that the field will be available for use in early March 2023, in time for the spring 2023. The next meeting is scheduled for August 18th. Okay, so then we have the agenda items. Item 1 is the rebuilds list. Item 2 is it's acknowledging the local planners for requirements. There were previous monthly transfers. Number 4 is disposal of transfers from 2005. Number 5 is allows us to participate in the Union City Purchasing Consortium, which is beneficial to better pricing. Number 6 is the approval of the submission of the grant application for ITPA funds. Number 7 is, state requirement to approve, the submission for NTPA GSSA 2022 grants. Number 8 is just closing out, the work related to the, sanitary line project at Ridge High School. Number 9 is the softball field. Number 10 is the item we mentioned in the report, the HVAC systems and documents. Number 11 is for IEP. Number 12 is a new student. Number 13 is a special education student. For the regular year, and then number 14 is why I'm saying. And that's also the case with 15 and 16, 17 and 19, and 18 and 19, all the rest, all the way down to 26 are the regular and it's my placements, and number 28 is so it's just a revision of the prior approval to adjust the amount by approximately $100. And then the last page, 29, 30, and 31 are several amendments.
Next is the item is the personnel committee. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. We have a lot. Roll call, please. Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item is the personnel committee report. There are 45 items. Something like Winston and Schaefer. There is no personnel committee report. Anybody have any questions on any agenda items? We have a roll call, please. Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Zero.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item is policy committee report. There is one item. Would somebody like a motion? Mr. Khanna and then Mrs. Gray. Is there a policy committee report?
Yes, policy that on Thursday. Basically, the second meeting, there is policy and regulations that are reported out at this meeting before. Just briefly, the policy on representation of health for setting school buildings, the policy of student intervention and referral services, examination of cost, and regulation on eligibility of resident and non-resident people, policy on harassment, intimidation, and bullying, policy on basic repair, a regulation on facility maintenance, repair, scheduling, and accounting, policy on emergency crisis situation, and a policy and regulation of cooperation with law enforcement. There were no changes. The first week. And then we also had a discussion regarding changes to policy 0159, which is board member use of electronic communication, email, and social media. It's something that I think everybody got a copy of the policy. They can review it, and then when we meet next time, we can discuss it after report out or there's also a discussion on board that we're working on the district website. Right now, each of us board members have our own email, and that's how we can contact us. But there was some discussion about possibly having one email address or maybe phone numbers so that we can reach us. Again, just food for thought for now, and let's discuss it at the next meeting.
Great. Any questions? Roll call, please. Mr. Barker. Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Thank you. The next item is the curriculum committee report. This is one item to be voted on. That motion, please. Singh and Mrs. White. Their curriculum report.
No, we couldn't understand that Friday, I'll report out next month.
Is there any questions about the item we're voting on? And roll call, please, Mr. Parker. Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. White.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item is the wellness committee report. Is there a wellness report?
The wellness committee is wellness break, and we will be at the end of August.
Great. Any liaison reports? No. Okay, the next item is public comment on non-agenda item. Is there anybody present that would like to make a comment on non-agenda items? Step up to the mini lectern.
Debbie Marcus, Team Roger Lane. It's nice to see your faces close and more, a little more personal. And I always have a paragraph of compliments that I have to delete for the 3 minutes, but mostly convinced it was lovely. The district is rewriting the health sex gender curriculum and giving comments from parents at many of the past meetings. Many do not want most of the new changes incorporated. In response to months of complaints, we were finally given a formal input option through a survey. Thank you for. Unfortunately, the survey was unnecessarily complex and minimally accessible. I have 10 points to make and then 5 questions about them. First, the survey was sent out very late in the process and over the holiday 4th of July weekend. A very short window for responses. 2, the link to background resources program. 3, when one tried to look at linked curriculum, it required a password that one had to request to go to the office, provided there was a response when I requested them. It's an unnecessary step. 4, specific mandate numbers were required for the survey, which is unnecessarily cumbersome, especially for anyone of the older setting who's trying to debate the subject matter they didn't want covered. 5, there was only one automated reminder about the survey, which clearly isn't a standard policy since we received multiple reminders about the consultant's EDI survey. 6, there were only a handful of questions, yet they still featured grammatical errors on even the intro page. 7, the survey only asked which items were most and least important. This did not allow one to convey that a topic was important, but that we didn't think the school should cover it, that a parent would want to cover it instead of a teacher the parent barely knew. The approach also of those questions did not allow space to convey that many of the topics are fine, but didn't need to be over or under emphasized. Survey readers could interpret our responses as that we didn't care about nutrition or exercise or something, when in reality this wasn't worth commenting on because it's obviously not controversial. 8, the survey asked if the whole mandate was age appropriate for each age group on a scale without easily allowing for details of which aspects considered were or weren't age appropriate. And that would vary possibly by each individual child anyways, which is what makes so much of this so problematic. 9, community members, many of them, especially seniors and handicapped people, who also pay taxes into the board budget like the rest of us, were not notified in any other way and not given a simpler way to provide input. 10, going back to the administration of the survey, we literally just paid $40,000 to a consultant to conduct a survey of our district. Why in the world didn't we add these questions onto it or delay that one until we can incorporate these easily? We could have added them on and had them take care of the accessibility issues. That was extremely poor planning. Parents have been complaining about this health gender mandate for months, and the survey, there should have been some foresight to combine these efforts. Furthermore, the consultant was paid to incorporate inclusivity and accessibility to our district, and this health mandate survey could not have been less inclusive. Regardless of the major weaknesses of the survey we were allowed to give some input on, I have 5 output questions for you. How many responses were received? How were the responses being incorporated into any curriculum plans? Will you be sharing and implementing the results of the survey? That was one question, sorry. At a previous meeting, you had indicated that physical ed teachers were helping rewrite the curriculum. I was happy to see in the agenda that it does appear that some other elementary and other teachers are being included, which is great. but there should have been communication about that. And I think that psychologists should be included as well, especially for the elementary age kids. We're getting a significant change. 3, what are the policies and procedures put in place pertaining to the selection of instructional material to implement the requirements of NJSA 18A:35-4.35? Since everybody wanted the details of every mandate survey, which is the LGBT and disability law on page 24. 4, if the mandate is implemented, please state at a meeting, public meeting, the exact wording of how elementary school children age 7 will be taught about gender roles and their gender role. Also, the exact wording for the multiple sexual positions that will be explained in middle school children as would be required. And how to avoid any of those aspects if you don't make it opt in, if you make it opt out. So a lot of these terminology in our worksheets and math and social studies and other subjects. So if you don't opt in and you do opt out, I'd like to know exactly how will be avoided.
Mr. Marcus?
Yeah.
Your time's up, so is this the last one?
Yes.
So,
At
all right,
a previous meeting, the board member commented that X number of people seemed for the detailed section of curriculum and Y number of people were against it. Does this mean it's a popularity contest? It's not based on what's developmentally appropriate. If so, please let the community vote on it. Just as you would not want me to talk to your children about many of the items in the new curriculum, many parents don't want teachers they barely know to have that kind of control over their kids' lives.
thank you. Any other public comment from those present?
Hi, my name is Erin Blackman. I'm the homestead in Heather Lane. Just a comment also about the health curriculum. Number one, parents do not ask for a complete transparency and they complain that our survey is too cumbersome because that is what a complete transparency looks like. Obviously, not all parents are complaining about this health curriculum. Many parents are for the health curriculum. And while some Ms. Marcus might say that no one wants her teaching our kids, she is not a licensed certified teacher. We put our trust and respect into. Another couple things about facts about health curriculum. Not only is this issues about health, but it's also social emotional learning. And we know that mental health issues affect academic performance. As a district, it is our responsibility to, whatever directly affects education, we need to be responsible for, and that includes social emotional learning. Not only are some students with mental health issues elevated for certain risk factors like suicide and harm, but also gifted students as well as LGBTQ students are actually 5 times more likely to attempt suicide. And that is why we are including these kinds of kids and curriculum in for all. When schools implement LGBTQ supportive policies, all students experience less emotional distress, less violence and harassment, less suicidal thoughts and behaviors. So now is not the time to cut social emotional learning and inclusive practices. Now is the time to reinforce them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Those present?
Hi, Stacy Molinari, 27 Franklin Drive. Hope you're enjoying the summer. You did just take a vote on a curriculum item, and I don't see anything in the agenda, so I was wondering what the vote was on related to curriculum. Regarding health standards, I agree with Ms. Marcus's comments. I am opposed to the health standards. You would have seen my comments in the survey. They are age inappropriate and content inappropriate, and they far overreach. Parents who do want this content taught, they are having the right and the freedom to do it themselves. And for every fact we just heard Mrs. Blackman quote, there are opposing facts that you can find that state exactly the alternate of what she shared, which is why this has been so sensitive. As far as the survey goes, thank you for putting that out there to allow us for feedback. But there were a lot of links broken. It took you to a lot of sources that didn't allow you access everywhere. There were either it ended you at a firewall, or because we're not, able to access certain resources as just regular community members, we couldn't see all of that level of detail. So that became difficult and less transparent than I had hoped. And some needed passwords, which we didn't have accounts for, unfortunately. There was a lot of information though, so I feel like I was able to weigh in on the survey, but I thought that feedback was important. but my questions are, what is happening between now and the BT Connect meeting? I just plan to join that. But by the end of August, I would guess that curriculum is going to be nearly completed. So if you could comment on what that process between now and then looks like. If it's final by then, how will that feedback be taken into consideration? And then how are you going to collate what we just put into that survey and use it to make decisions? Thank you.
Thank you. Comment on one thing?
Whatever you want.
Okay. Anybody else present? Public comment? Step up to the mini lectern.
Good evening, my name is Jim Mardier, 119 Dykeman Place. I just wanted to comment on the softball notes here. It's wonderful to see that there has been some energy put behind evaluating, remediating the issue at the varsity softball field. I am not optimistic that $44,000 of a landscaper to regrade and resod is going to solve the larger issue that is created there, but I'll keep my fingers crossed. I just wanted to go on record to say thank you, and then temper that by saying I don't think it's good work. I'm just throwing away $44,000. If the field, the women's softball field, is not available for play in the spring because the work was not satisfactory, it would be wonderful for the boys to take over that field and the girls can take over the baseball field. This is something that probably requires a little more attention and investment, but it's a step in the right direction. So thank you very much.
For public comment? Oh, all right, go ahead.
Lynn Murray, 72 Deer Ridge Road. I also want to say thank you for, some work for the softball field. I actually had more of a question at the last meeting. There was a possible environmental concern that was being looked at. So I was more curious whether there is no environmental concern. And then the other concern that I had with the landscaping company coming in is when did they look at it? Because if there was any time in the last month, we had no rain. There's literally, it's so dry that if they looked at it and they saw a field, and they said, oh, look, great, we're just gonna regrade it and be good. That's a concern because the field is a lot worse than just, if it's really just been, if they've never seen it in the condition that it is in the spring or whatever. That's just for my concern. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else present? Public comment? Okay. Anybody else? Great. We'll close public comment on agenda items. So just to be clear on the curriculum item that was voted on, there was an addendum. I'm not sure if it's over there or not. It should be, but it was approving 3 textbooks, one for Spanish 1 called Intro to Us. 5 years. That's then one for AP US History, and then another book for US History and Honors US History. That's what I would want. Okay.
Yeah, sure. So a couple things. Obviously, we are working on the health curriculum between now and the August BT Connect meeting. Certainly, we are going to make as much progress as we can, but we're not looking to make it final because we do want to hear what people have to say at that meeting. We have collected the survey information. And I will put some notes together about that in my SOS Express for this Friday with what we intend to do with it and how we can make it accessible to people. I was copied on some of the emails where folks raised questions about links and things of that nature. And I just want to say I understand it's a lot. I have to really give Ms. Fox a lot of credit because it was a huge amount of content and material put together to try to make it as much information as possible for people to consider when filling out the survey. But the downside of that was it made it very complex. And there were a lot of links in there. I know I saw some emails where she's correcting some things, trying to make sure everyone had access to what they wanted. So appreciate your patience with that. Thank you for taking the time to give us some feedback. And I know that, you know, a couple people expressed, you know, that they wanted to say more. Send an email, let us know what your thoughts are. If you thought something was just overly complex, but you have something that you want to share about the health curriculum, just send us an email and we'll essentially add your comments to the narratives that people provided when you actually complete the service. So that's fine. I can have whenever folks will send that in. Thanks for the comments about the softball field. We'll see how it goes. Certainly, we are hopeful that this is a major step in the right direction of improving the condition of the field. There was a question about an environmental concern. I don't really know of any environmental concern. I know that there was an issue of whenever you move earth, that you have to be concerned about runoff of soil and erosion of soil. And so sometimes you'll put in silt fences, or you'll have bales of hay, if you will, to contain runoff. So that's really a soil erosion issue. I wouldn't say it's an environmental problem, but you do have to kind of take a look at that as you're doing the project. So I think that's what that might be.
Board forum, anybody learn to start for the new Sandcastle building on this? No? Oh.
But I just want to comment about the links in the survey. This happens, I know all the hard work that goes into preparing a survey and creating all those links and connections, but it's a very challenging thing to do because obviously the people working on it usually do have the permissions, so you don't always get a real world test. And it's not easily achieved even with us because as we have district email addresses as well. So as we move forward, maybe there's a way to always do like an outside test to make sure that someone did Yahoo or not a Gmail, right? Like something else, whether it's a Hotmail or online, whatever, just to see that those links are working. And if not, maybe there's a good reason why not, but then maybe offer an alternative, whether that's like something that points to something on our website that's an excerpt from the resource times that you connect to.
One thing I want to say about the softball field, like looking at it now and then, so the way that it was determined to regrade was that somebody came out and surveyed the land to see what it looks like, the topology of it. So it didn't have to have standing water on it like it did previously. So by looking at kind of the topology of the surface and how it kind of goes up and down, you can see where the grade needed to start and come down and slope down. It's one of the swales that can offload some water. So that's why we think it'll be a good fix for that area of left center field. That was all I had. Right. We're up for adjournment. Motion to adjourn. Mrs. White and Ms. Haas. Everybody in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, everybody.